Ladies and gentlemen, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. We've already actually gotten some pretty interesting details on Black Ops 7 multiplayer and how even before we're to the beta here in a few days time, they're already making changes based on community feedback, which hopefully is a good sign to come. Obviously with the beta, that's where they're going to get the most valuable feedback, and we could be seeing updates go out mid beta to already change things to get even more of an idea of how to adjust things, how to address things in time for full launch. So we've got quite a bit to break down here today. I did want to start first with some new details on one of the brand new modes that Black Ops 7 is detailing. Most of the information today stems from Matt Scronce here, the design director at Treyarch, and Overload is this new thing that we've been hearing a lot about. They're really trying to push this mode like in their blog and everything, but it's a new mode here, competitive team objective based mode, and Matt does detail that this has been the source of a ton of noise in their internal playtest so far. Excited for you all to check it out. The Vision was a new competitive mode inspired by some of our favorites like CTF and Uplink, of course, with some fun new twists to make it perfect for Black Ops 7. So this will be something a little bit different to experience here, and we'll see how it goes over. But then over the course of the past few days, dating back to like last week, we've actually gained a few other additional details on some things that have already been updated, changed, and addressed for the beta here, which I think is pretty interesting to see that they're already actually going through and updating things and changing things before really any of us have gone through and played the game ourselves and actually tested out the beta. So obviously it's sort of a make or break year for them. Like, they have to nail this or Battlefield's going to take over the FPS scene, quite frankly. Like, they have so much pressure this year, and we're coming off of Black Ops 6, which did not have good reception for the vast majority of the year. So this pressure that they're feeling is definitely causing them, I think, to be a little bit more responsive and receptive to feedback, and maybe a little bit more quick to act as well. For instance, there was some talk about health bars being above players and whether or not this was going to be in the beta build. Obviously a feature that can be very useful for a lot of players, and Matt was asked, health bars are confirmed for the beta in COD Next now, question mark. Matt does say, I've learned to never 100% confirm features, but we have been playing with and loving health bars in the Black Ops 7 beta build, looking good to go. So that should indicate that health bars will be there in the beta to test and see, okay, are they too overpowered? Do they make players stand out a little bit too much? You know, there's situations like in Battlefield with the diamonds above the players where it's like, I don't actually see the player, but I see the diamond, so I'm just going to shoot at that and I end up getting hit markers. The same could happen here in Black Ops 7, and maybe that needs some adjustments. So having this as a feature in the beta to test around with is definitely good. But Treyarch has also made some pretty drastic gameplay updates already, which is surprising to see this early on, again, before we even get our hands on the game. Keep in mind, as we are going through the various different updates and changes that we're detailing here today, if you guys enjoy the video, you want to help share it around, a like rating is always seriously appreciated. It truly does help the channel grow. And if you're new to the channel, you want to ensure you're always up to date with everything going on in COD, be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications, and help get us one step closer to reaching 1 million subscribers. Next up here, there was a lot of talk about perks. Recently, Matt was going back and forth with Parasite here, talking about perk balance and how some of it seemed a little bit too favorable of like perk 1 and Enforcer. Parasite was talking about how some things probably need to be changed up. We covered this a few days back where Matt was saying, hey, that's good feedback. We're going to be taking a look at this. And they've actually already pulled the trigger on this. And quite literally, that's what Matt says in this tweet, adjusted some things. So Matt says, we've pulled the trigger on a few perk changes for the Black Ops 7 beta based off of feedback this week. We will, of course, gather data and feedback throughout the beta and make additional adjustments for launch, but Dexterity, they've shifted over to perk 3, so there's a little bit more movement balance there. Scavenger's going from perk 2 to perk 1, and Looper's going from perk 3 to perk 2. So Enforcer gets some reworks here, so you can maybe string together a few more additional benefits that don't make it so that perk 1 is like insanely competitive, and you're like, yeah, I don't really care for what's in perk 2 or perk 3. This should bring some more competition across the entire category there with Enforcer and change things up there. So we'll have to see how this plays out, but surprising that they actually went through and already completely shifted some perk metas in a sense before we even got to play. There's also been a lot of talk about gunfights, weapon behavior, and gunplay as of late, and they've actually already gone through and addressed some things here as well. Matt says, quick note ahead of the Black Ops 7 beta next week, since we've seen some discussions around gunfights going on, just want to say that we've drastically reduced visual noise when firing your weapon in Black Ops 7, which we know is a common piece of feedback across the board, but also specifically from our keyboard and mouse players. So visual recoil in Black Ops 7 is going to be more straightforward, maybe than even what we've seen in some of the gameplay trailer clips so far, where it does seem like there is some decent visual kick and some noise there. Weapon smoke and that sort of flash there that's super obnoxious also toned down, which is great because we had obviously a lot of that in MW2, and that was a big complaint from everyone. Controller players saying, even with aim assist, I can't really see where I'm shooting. It's just obnoxious. Keyboard and mouse players really suffer from that as well, where it's just hard to stay on target because of that added noise and whatnot. Having actual recoil patterns is fine, and it is a skill gap that should be there, but the RNG noise and flash and smoke is just really, really obnoxious there. So they're already going through and adjusting this quite a bit. We've even got some specifics here as well. Matt gets tweeted and says, does that include gun smoke? And Matt does confirm, yes, that is muzzle smoke and flash as well. So visual recoil in Black Ops 7 hopefully should be pretty straightforward, which ultimately is just going to make gunfights more competitive across the board, whether you're talking controller versus controller, keyboard and mouse versus controller, especially where oftentimes they feel like they are at a disadvantage there because the lack of aim assist. Controller versus keyboard and mouse though, keyboard and mouse versus keyboard and mouse, it just makes things more reliant on actual gun skill, learning recoil patterns and weapon behaviors there, so you can master a gun. If you know a rifle is going to kick up and to the right consistently, you can memorize that pattern, adjust accordingly, and it looks like your weapon has no recoil. But when there is that added muzzle flash and the smoke and annoying things there, it's like, okay, I know where the gun's gonna shoot, but if a player's making adjustments, they're slide canceling, they're jumping, they're bouncing off of walls like in Black Ops 7 they'll be able to, it's hard to stay on target there, and it doesn't really feel like, even though you know what the gun's gonna do, you can actually utilize it to the best of its ability and the best of your ability because of the RNG added in there. So I like the fact that they are being pretty direct about this so far. And this is just the beginning. Like, this is pre-beta updates that we're seeing, which is really not something we've gotten much of in Call of Duty before. I'm trying to remember, and at least off the top of my head, granted it's very early in the morning right now, not fully awake, but I can't remember a situation where we've actually had this many changes going into gameplay, this many reactionary adjustments going into the game, just based off of gameplay clips that we've seen and like word of mouth stuff where it's somebody's talking about, okay, I played a little bit of this, but I was a little bit worried about that, and like, they're actually doing quite a bit now. I fully believe it's because they know the pressure is on this year, and hopefully that leads to a strong beta and then a stronger launch as well, with all the feedback they're going to get from when we as a mass player base can actually get our hands on and give feedback directly based off of the experience there. But yeah, Black Ops 7 is already changing quite a bit, surprisingly early. That is going to wrap things up though. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like on it, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications to ensure you are always up to date with everything going on in Call of Duty. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.